Hi guys, welcome to the show. As you can see, it's just me today. Manny wasn't able to make it here. He had some prior obligations, work and things of that sort that didn't allow him to see Deadpool this weekend. But nonetheless, I'll be able to do a Deadpool review because I've seen it twice now, because I wanted to give you the most analytical review. Maybe not the most analytical review, but I wanted to make sure all my fanboy giddiness was gone after the first one, and I actually got to sit and kind of look through the film on a second viewing. And as you can see, we're in a new location. We're actually here at my house, so you guys get a little peek in the inner workings of my bat cave. I guess now with that being said, hopefully, by the time we do our next podcast, Manny will have had a chance to see the movie, and we can do a full spoiler review and go a little bit more in depth on what I'm going to do in this video. And hopefully he's seen the movie by then, because for some particular reason, when you work in the movie business, as he does, you don't watch movies. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so one of the great things about this movie was the plot of the movie. Basically, it was a revenge tale. You got to see a man who wanted to go out and take revenge for being done wrong. In this case, with Wade Wilson, it was from the whole experimental treatments they did on him to cure him from his cancer, to being able to get his girlfriend back. And the way they talk to you, or the way they unfolded the plot in this movie, was great. It told you who he was as a person, Wade Wilson. It also it gave you another origin story. And I know we had to go through Wolverine's X-Men origin, and we saw a little bit of Wade's and Deadpool's origin. But obviously we know they did it wrong. And this one stayed a little bit truer to the comic books. Another thing with the plot is that this one gave you a little bit more heart to it. I mean, you had a love story that was going on with him and Morena Baccarin, I think that's how you say her last name, which they totally sold. At first, I thought going into it that it was going to be something where it was going to come off real cheesy, but they really sold them being in love, being two damaged individuals finding love within each other, and for him really caring for her and her really caring for him. So it really built up his motivation going forward in the movie. Now, I will say, as we touch on the romance from the plot, that the characters in this movie were integral to the plot. I know we all went into this movie thinking that we were going to see Colossus, and we were going to see Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I think that's her full name. Negasonic Teenage Warhead as slight cameos, but they were a big piece of this movie. You get to see them quite a bit throughout the movie, and they were definitely integral to the plot. I'm trying not to go into too many spoilers, but you'll definitely enjoy the scenes that you do see them in. Back to Morena Baccarin. Her character was great. Was a strong character. She didn't come off as needy and was a damsel in distress. She was somebody who looked like she was, in the movie, they portrayed her as somebody who could handle herself, even in odds that weren't in her favor. Other characters in this movie, we came across our villains. We dealt with with Ed Skrein as Ajax and Gina Carano as Angel. Their characters, and I kind of got to a point where with superhero films, I'm not looking for too much out of the villains, and we got to stop giving Marvel Studios crap about it, because I just think that that's now everybody's moved to a point where they want to give you as much information and more screen time to your hero than they want to worry about with the villains. In another superhero film, we have villains that do things because of evil, I guess, because outside of them working for a company, they really didn't explain what their legit motivations were in the whole process. So I'm trying not to give too much, but that's where we went with those characters. Obviously, we had T.J. Miller, who we saw for the trailers, which a lot of his banter back and forth with Wade or Deadpool was some of the best stuff, and most of the jokes came from them. Not to say that there wasn't other funny things in this film, but most of the jokes actually came from them. And it was once they were on screen together, you knew something hilarious was getting ready to happen. Now, I guess moving on to the look of the film. The look of the film, as you can see in some of these pictures, I mean, was beautiful. I mean, they didn't have a lot of set pieces in this film, so a lot of the things that you saw in the trailer, those were most of the places that they were going to be at, and some of what you seen in the trailer kind of overarched the whole movie. So I kind of felt a little bit going into the film, like in some of the trailers, man, okay, I've seen this piece, I've seen this piece. Wow, did I see the whole movie? And no, you really didn't, because they just gave you snippets, just pieces throughout the whole movie. So, and like I said, there weren't too many set pieces, so they didn't give you the whole thing away, but you've seen a little bit of almost every piece of the movie until you get to see how he made his suit. That was totally not in the in any of the trailers, and not the simple fact that they showed you how he made the suit. It was kind of the lead up montage of him before he got the suit, and that's some of the most hilarious stuff and total Deadpool moments. And you can see that those were the moments where you actually saw him really becoming the character of Deadpool. I guess with that being said, I want to go on, because a lot of those were the goods. I want to talk about some of the things that I didn't like with the film. And I guess one of the glaring things with the film was some of the CGI. And trust me, the film looked really, really good. We're not talking super bad CGI, or, you know, like claymation dinosaurs or something like that. But I think I think with a little bit higher budget, some of the shots probably could have looked a little bit better, especially with, like, say, Colossus. And some of these photos, it looks great. But sometimes on screen and in some of the action shots, it did come off a little. It did come off a little CGI-ish. A couple of the jumps were a little off, but I mean, they had a really, really tight budget, so they did amazing things with the budget that they had. And I think, like I said, with the villains before, their motivation was a little weak. They were just kind of doing bad for bad sake. And they didn't really like why they were part of the whole process, and why it meant anything to them. Going forward, I guess if you stay to the end of the film, you're gonna find that there's 2 end credits. They're very, very short, but you do have to sit all the way through the credits to get to them. So don't think that there's none and you get up. They're actually at the end, and they're right behind each other. They're back to back. But they are funny. You kind of wanted to see. I know they kind of teased in some of the hype and upcoming to the movie about a cameo that could happen. It doesn't happen, so don't be looking for it, because it kind of got my hopes up, thinking it was gonna happen, and it didn't pan out. Also, too, it sets up what they're gonna do with the character. But all in all, with this film, I guess I'm gonna say, I really love the film. It's not my #1 superhero film that I thought it might take a place from Civil War, but I mean, it's a close second, man. But this was a great thing. They did a great job with Deadpool, and I can't wait to see what they do in future movies. Whether he goes and appears in another X film, or if he goes and obviously they announced a sequel, so we'll definitely see him in a sequel.
Hi guys, today's movie that you don't hate. Congratulations to Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. I was so happy that he got off to